If we ask most people, would you rather be rich young or be rich at 60? What would most people reply? Come on. In this video, we are going to analyze 7 passive income ideas, How I Make 67k per week by Mark Tilbury. So is passive income even a real thing? It's a very controversial topic. Some people say that there is no such thing as passive income, while other people, they swear by it. So is it actually a myth or is it a reality? And then, how do you actually make 67k a week with passive income? Well, you know what? Let's find out.
The biggest lie young people are told when they're 18, 19 and 20 is money doesn't grow on trees. This process starts in school when we're taught to follow the traditional path of getting a job and a mortgage, which leads to working every hour of the day just to earn enough money to retire at 67 and finally die.
When I was young, I was growing up low income, and I saw most adults around me, they were miserable. They hated their lives. They hated their job. They had to get up early to take their kids to school, and then all they would do is go to work, get back home, take care of some more chores, have to deal with responsibilities, and at the end of the day, most people are quite frankly exhausted, so they don't have the energy to do anything other than watching TV or Netflix. And also because they don't really have that much energy, because their job is taking it all. Most people, they don't really pay attention to their health and fitness. They're not going to go into exercise after they've already been exhausted by a long day's work. When I was a kid, I saw the people around me, and I thought, I do not want to end up like this. I mean, tell me, is there really a point in living a life where you work all year long, you work really hard, and then you've got 2 weeks of vacations, and all you can do is to just watch TV for 2 weeks? Is that a life? In my opinion, it's not. And also, it made me super depressed to see that no matter how hard you worked, yeah, at some point you might get a raise, but honestly, year after year, it's not like your income is going to significantly grow with a traditional career. Whereas with an online business, from 1 month to the next, there can be a 10x growth. Now, don't confuse money with freedom. You can be making a lot of money, but if you're working all of the time, also, what's the point? My goal personally is to make money work for me, to make my business work for me, not to be the one constantly putting in more and more hours. Because at the end of the day, you cannot work all of your waking hours. And even if you could, what kind of life would that even be? Truthfully, when I was done with high school, I had a choice. I could go to university, or I could decide to start my own online business, to follow my dreams. But since a very young age, I already knew I would never go to university. I wanted to bet on myself and to see what I was capable of doing. And I wanted to build my dreams. I didn't want to be working for somebody else. I wanted to work for myself.
Let's be real for a second. Do you think that's how I make $67,257 per week? There is clearly something else going on. And no, I'm not talking about getting a high-paid job or starting a side hustle.
With a business, you can technically make that kind of money. With a traditional job, not really. Because yes, while technically speaking, it is possible to make $1 million a year or $2 million a year with a career. Like, let's say you're a lawyer, a doctor, but you would have to live in the United States to begin with, which a lot of people, they simply can't. And you'd have to be in a big city like New York or Chicago. So if you are a lawyer in a small city in Germany, you're not going to make $1 million in your company no matter how hard you try. Now, is it truly possible to make 60k per week passive income? Like you don't have any work to do? Wouldn't that be the dream? And how are you supposed to do that in the first place?
To achieve this, you need a way of making money that doesn't rely on you working day in, day out.
If you ask most people how to make more money, they will say work longer hours, or get a better job, a job that pays you more, or get higher qualifications to be paid more. But it all comes down to the same thing. Work longer hours, study more. But even if you went from, let's say, $12 an hour and you 10x your and you managed to 10x your hourly rate, you would now be making $120 per hour. But is it going to make you rich? Is it going to help you to make $67,000 a week? Obviously not. So surely there must be something else going on. You see, if you want to make money, that's level 1. Trading your time for money. And that's what most people do. And we all do it to some degree. Like when I'm recording a video like this, technically speaking, I'm trading my time for money. However, with a traditional job, a traditional career, the results that you get are linear. And also, they're not really that big. So it's not like you're going to be able to experience exponential growth like you would with a business. Like tell me, what kind of job is going to allow you to 10x your income over the next month? Literally no job. Now it might be a different story if you're like a sales rep or you're paid per commissions, but even then you're not really making passive income. You have to work day in, day out to make that money. So you are still the one working for money as opposed to having money work for you.
Idea 1. Invest in stocks. There's a bit more to this than just invest in the stock market and you'll make passive income. I mean, I can see why people might think this, because let's say you buy a share in a company and it goes up in value. Technically, you've generated some money without doing anything. But in order to actually get your cash out, you have to sell your stock.
You don't necessarily have to sell the stock to make money off of it. If it pays dividends, if you invest a lot of money in the stock market, you'll be able to live off of your dividends. My goal personally is to have my online business bring in enough cash so so that I can use some of the profits generated by my online business and invest them in, for instance, the stock market. And then with the stock market investments that I made, live off of my dividends. And I can tell you that if you make $67,000 per week in passive investments, it could be passive stock market investments, you'll never have to worry about money ever again. That's a guarantee. And honestly, for those of you right now wanting to have a crazy lifestyle, the kind of lifestyle that you see people showing you all day long on Instagram, if you spend $10,000 a month, not make $10,000 a month, if you spend $10,000 per month, you'd be able to have this kind of lifestyle and even more. Truthfully, for most people, you might need less money than you think to actually live the sort of life that you've always dreamed of. So I really invite you to just do some research on the internet, you take a notepad, a pen, and you actually calculate how much would it cost to live the life that I've always wanted to live. And trust me, because you might be surprised. Now let's say you only have $1,000 or $2,000 to invest. Should you start by investing in the stock market? In my opinion, this is a bad idea. Now fair enough, it can teach you a thing or two about investing and it's going to build a good habit. Because as opposed to following what most people do, which is to just blow your money on liabilities and things that just take money out of your pocket instead of putting money in your pocket. When you have $1,000 or $2,000 to invest, sometimes even less than that, investing in the stock market, it is not going to make a big difference. It's not going to change your life. On YouTube, you'll hear lots of people say that you need to invest $200 a month in the stock market. Like you go to your job and then you save $200 a month and you invest it in the stock market. And after 50 years straight, you might be able to retire with $1 million or $2 million in the bank. And finally, you'll get to enjoy life. I've always hated this sort of advice. To me, it's only misleading, and honestly, a lot of things could happen along the way. You might even not reach that 60 years old mark. Who the hell knows? And also, when you're 60 compared to when you're 20 or 35, it is definitely not the same thing. When you're 20 or 35, you can do so much more stuff. You can enjoy life so much more. And let's be honest, if we ask most people, would you rather be rich young or be rich at 60? What would most people reply? Come on, your youth is the best period of your life you'll ever get to experience. So if you can have the money to do literally anything you want the jackpot. So what should you do if you only have $1,000 or even $2,000 or even less than that? Should you put that money in other sorts of investments? In my opinion, the best thing that you can do with that money is to start your own online business. Just imagine a couple decades ago, just 100 years ago, if you wanted to become rich, a millionaire let's say, and you were from a low-income family, you were screwed, because to start your own business, you would have needed connections, a network of influential people, you would have needed to buy some land, to open up some factories, and all of that, it would have costed a lot of money, which obviously if you were low income, you simply didn't have access to. But nowadays, you can build crazy wealth, you can become a millionaire in just a few years with an online business. So all you need is the right knowledge, an internet connection, and a laptop to do some work. That's literally it. Now, does this mean that everyone is going to be able to do it? No, because quite frankly, the top 1% is called the top 1% for a reason. Most people, they want to become a millionaire. Some people, they even want to be a billionaire. But in reality, how many people will actually end up becoming millionaires or billionaires? Very few. Why? Because only a few people are actually willing to roll up their sleeves and to do the work day in, day out. And then those people, when they succeed massively, everyone thinks it's an overnight success and everyone thinks that, you know what, they just got lucky. When in reality, they have been putting so much work in the shadows when there was no one to look. Surely one day this YouTube channel is going to blow up, and some people might say that it's an overnight success, that I got lucky, that it was effortless for me. In reality, you can take a look at my channel right now. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers and I put out 2 videos a day. That's a lot of work. Truth is, in this world, governments and political organizations are going to try to make you believe that you are free, that it's your birthright to be free. However, in my opinion, we didn't really abolish slavery, because what kind of life is it if you just work to pay taxes to work? Like literally, that's most people's lives. Also, there's so many people all over the world, they get massively in debt to get a good degree to then get a good job, and they can't even get the job. And because of inflation, because of the prices of real estate, they can't even buy a home or an apartment anymore. So they just work to pay off debt and to pay taxes. So really tell me, is that not slavery in a way? So with the money that you have, and even if you have zero money, your best option is to start your own online business. Some businesses, you can start them for free. Like to give you an example, if you wanted to create content on TikTok, technically speaking, you could just take your phone, a window as a natural light source, and start making some content, and then send products to your audience. But to be completely honest with you, some business models are much better than others. To give you an example, if you wanted to start dropshipping, you would probably need to spend at least $5,000 to $10,000, and most people, they don't have that. And I say that because that is if you want to be successful at dropshipping. Now, I can't really go too in-depth in here, so if you want to find out what's the best online business to start for beginners, I have recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together, we take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I am also going to share with you the 3-step process that you can use to start getting your first customers today. The link is in the description below.
Idea 2. Automate a side hustle. A lot of people don't understand the difference between a job and an automated side hustle. When I was younger, I had a friend called Jamie who had a small dog training business. He was fantastic at what he did. I remember him seeing tame the craziest of dogs. One day when we were sitting in the park, I asked him how much money he made, and I was surprised to find out he was only just getting by. It didn't really make sense to me how such a skilled person who obviously had a lot of value to give was unable to make the money he deserved. If we put aside the fact that he probably wasn't charging enough, we get to the real issue, which was the business model. He only had a limited amount of hours he could sell and dogs he could train. Therefore, he could only earn so much before his potential was capped.
And that is why you need to make sure that you pick the right business model. Because the goal isn't to create more of a job than a job for yourself. It's to make money work for you. It's to hire and to delegate the work to other people so that you can have more free time and focus on living the life that you want. Now, does it mean that you will have to put in no work? Obviously not. But the only reason billionaires are billionaires, it's not because they work every waking hour. It's because they have a company that is valued at a few $billions. They solve a problem for a market. Usually they either serve a few select people and charge a very high price, think Ferrari, or they serve everybody pretty much and charge cheap prices, think of Amazon or Netflix. But tell me, would the owners of those companies, the founders of those companies, be able to make so much money if they had nobody working for them? Like if it was just them doing the work? Obviously not. And that is why to make a lot of money, you need a lot of leverage. So while it's a smart idea to invest in the stock market, because with inflation, the money that you keep in your bank account, it is losing value year after year. So if you don't invest it in assets, you're actually becoming poorer and poorer year after year. Now, to be honest, there is a lot of misinformation online about starting a business, especially an online business. A lot of people try to make it look easier than it actually is. When you first get started, the truth is that you will have to put in a lot of work. Because honestly, if you want to make 6 figures a year, 7 figures a year, you are trying to achieve the top 1%. So what do you expect? Do you think it's going to be that easy, that it's going to come overnight in like 2 months, you're going to be making 7 figures? Obviously not. You have to be realistic. It is possible to get to that level, but you have to be willing to put in the work. And at the beginning, that's true if you don't have a lot of money to invest, you will have to do the work yourself. However, with the consulting business model, you can find a client, close the client, so you have to do that part of the work yourself. But then if you do not know how to deliver the services to your customer, you can simply delegate that part of the process to an experienced contractor. So you'll get somebody to do the work for you, essentially. This means that you can focus on customer acquisition, reaching out to new potential customers and signing them on as clients. But essentially, understand that if you want to scale to a certain level at some point, you'll need to use leverage because you cannot do all of the work yourself and you cannot do everything yourself. You only have 24 hours. So to get some leverage, you will either need to leverage other people's skills and time or machines, automations, and systems.
Idea 3. Make online content. For decades, millions upon millions of dollars have been hoarded by the traditional media. I'm talking about the radio stations and television networks. The public had no idea how much money was in advertising until YouTube opened their doors for the public to create their own content. Then the curtain was well and truly lifted.
It's true that making content online is a viable business model. However, let's be honest, if you expect to become a millionaire or to even make 6 figures a year just with YouTube AdSense revenue, let me tell you, it is a long and tedious route. I mean, like I said, I don't even have 700 subscribers at the time I'm recording this video, and I publish 2 videos per day. So it is a lot of work. The thing with YouTube and with making content online is that a couple years down the line, you can reap gigantic benefits. You can get to 7 and even 8 figures a year, meet very influential people, but you have to be willing to give up a part of your anonymity. You have to be willing to expose a part of your private life, of your personality to the rest of the world. And you'll get lots of haters, lots of critics. It's not made for everybody. I mean, there's a reason why when you get to a certain level of fame, that can be 1 million subscribers, 2 million subscribers, you literally need to hire bodyguards for when you go out in public. And like I said, it can take a long time to get results. The growth with YouTube and with social media, it is usually exponential, meaning when you first get started, you put in so much work and you barely see any results. And honestly, this is exactly why most people give up. It's within the first 3 to 4 years, most people, they will quit because it is very difficult. However, with a business like the consulting business model, you could reach out to potential customers and start landing your first customers literally within a week, within a month. So this is the step-by-step plan that I would follow if I were to start again from scratch. I would start an online business that doesn't require a lot of money to get started, but also to keep running the business month after month. Because like I said, if you start a dropshipping business, you'll have to put in a lot of money up front to pay, for instance, for the ads, for the products. And there are so many issues to deal with. Trust me, I have done dropshipping. It is a terrible business model for beginners. And then of course, with the money that I make from my business, I reinvest in the business to scale it. And then with some of the profits generated with my company, I will invest in other kind of investments, like the stock market. And then the goal is to live off of my dividends so that they completely pay for my lifestyle. Now, with that said, if you want to discover what's the best online business model to start as a beginner, the link to the free video is in the description below. And as always, I am waiting for you on the other side.